Hello, welcome back to Asanas and Wellness. My name is Latoya, and today we are celebrating Juneteenth. Now, on June 19th in 1865, the last of the slaves were freed in Texas. It was a day of celebration and joy, and today we're going to celebrate with this very special flow for happiness and joy. In the description box below, I'm going to leave one or two links of some resources where you can read up on Juneteenth and so you can understand the history and why it's such an important date in Black history. You'll need no props for today's flow. Let's get started. We'll start today in bound angle or Baddha Konasana. Bending both knees, bring the soles of your feet together. Bring your feet in towards your groin as close as is comfortable for you. Lengthen your tailbone down, keeping your neck long, and grasp the outside of your feet. Here we're going to take some slow, deep breaths while we get grounded. Now place your right elbow to rest on your right thigh, and on an inhale, raise your left hand up, and exhale to bring the right side of your head down towards your right knee. On an inhale, come up to center, now placing your left elbow on your left thigh. On your next inhale, raise your right hand up, and on the exhale, bring your head down towards your left knee. On an inhale, return to center. Now on your next inhale, lengthen your spine, and on an exhale, twist slowly to the right, placing your left hand on your right knee and your right hand on the floor just behind you. On an inhale, return to center. On your next inhale, lengthen your spine and twist slowly to the left. On an inhale, return to center. Now make your way into tabletop position. On your hands and knees, placing your knees in line with your hips and your palms in line with your shoulders. Let's do a few cat-cows to continue warming up our spine. On an inhale, arch your back for cow pose, lifting your tailbone up, sending your gaze up. On an exhale, round your spine up for cat pose, dropping your head and pointing your tailbone down. Continue a few more rounds at your own pace. On an inhale, come back to neutral. Move your hands an inch or two in front of you, and let's slowly move into Cobra pose by shifting your hips forward. With your hands firmly gripping the floor, push away, lengthening the torso, but keeping your pelvis on the floor. Draw your shoulders away from your ears, taking slow, deep breaths. On an exhale, lower to the floor. Now going into downward facing dog, straighten your arms while sending your tailbone up and back, pushing your heels towards the ground, but bending your knees if necessary. Now walk your hands back to meet your feet, coming into a forward fold. Lift your sit bones towards the sky, bending your knees if needed. Slowly roll up to standing. On an exhale, step your right foot in front of you about 3 feet to prepare for pyramid pose. Keeping your heels in one line, point your left foot 45 degrees to the left, keeping your torso facing forward. On an exhale, lengthen your spine and begin folding over your right leg until your torso is parallel to the floor. Bring your hands to rest on your shin, keeping a micro bend in your left knee. Now coming up, let's move into a high lunge. Bending your right knee and keeping your knee over your ankle. You may have to move your left foot back a bit. Bring your arms to cactus position and send your gaze up for a slight back bend. Step up to the front of your mat into mountain pose with your feet hip distance apart. Raise your arms above. On an exhale, bend your knees while shifting your hips back and down into chair pose. On your next exhale, twist to the left while extending your arms out. On an inhale, return to center. On an exhale, twist to the right. Now coming back up into our mountain pose, step your right foot back about 3 feet. Line your heels as we prepare for pyramid pose on this side. Point your right foot at a 45-degree angle to the right, and on an exhale, begin folding over your left leg, keeping your back straight. Coming up slowly and bending your right knee, let's step back into our high lunge with cactus arms. Now for here, we're going to take a wide-legged forward fold. Turn the edges of your feet parallel to the ends of your mat, and with hands on your hips, begin folding over from your waist. As you get closer to the floor, go ahead and bring your hands down to rest on the floor. Now return your hands to your hips and slowly begin to rise. Adjust your feet so that your toes are pointing out towards the front corners of your mat, preparing for goddess pose. Bend your knees, sink your hips toward the floor. Bring your arms to cactus position, opening up your chest, fingers spread wide, and keeping your spine long. Bring your arms down and begin walking your feet in. Step to the front of your mat into mountain pose, standing with your feet together, arms down at your side, your shoulders relaxed downward. Bending now into a forward fold. Go ahead and plant your hands on the mat and step back into downward facing dog. Raise your left leg and on an exhale, bring it in, placing your left knee on the floor behind your left hand and your left ankle behind your right wrist. Extend your right leg directly behind your body, adjusting to keep your hips square. Slowly walk your hands forward until you can come down to your elbows, taking slow, deep breaths. Tuck your right toes under and carefully push back to downward facing dog. Now we're going to do a half pigeon on the right side by raising your right leg, and on an exhale, bringing it in, placing your right knee on the floor behind your right hand and your right ankle behind your left wrist. Be sure to adjust to keep your hips squared. Now roll back on your right hip and swing your left leg around in front of you. Let's come down to our backs with our knees bent, soles on the floor, preparing for a happy baby pose. On an exhale, bring your knees in towards your chest. Grab the outsides of your feet or around your ankles if that's more comfortable. Open your knees as wide as your shoulders and create resistance by pushing your feet into your hands as you pull your feet down. Taking slow, deep breaths. Begin to roll gently side to side, massaging your lower back. On an exhale, return to center and release your feet to the floor. Going into bridge pose, place your feet hip width apart and about 6 inches out from your sit bone. Place your arms by your sides with your palms facing down. On an inhale, push into your feet to lift your hips and bring your chest up towards your chin. Tuck your shoulders under while trying to relax your head and shoulders. Now your knees should be aligned over your ankles, so go ahead and readjust if needed. Exhale to lower. Now keeping your knees together, move your hips an inch or so to the right for our spinal twist. Your arms should be bent in cactus. Now bring your knees in towards your chest and slowly send them over to the left, placing them gently on the floor for a spinal twist. Gazing to the right, your right shoulder should be pinned down to the mat. Relax your feet and lower body. Slow, deep breathing here. On an inhale, bringing your knees back up, readjusting and moving your hips an inch or so to the left. Begin to slowly send your knees over to the right, sending your gaze to the left. On an inhale, bring your knees up, returning to center. And we'll end our practice today in Sukhasana. So come up into your cross-legged position with your palms together at your heart center. Take a moment to think of something that you're grateful for. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. See you next time.